See these expensive homes? You see these expensive homes in this area? These are some of the really expensive ones. If you're going to be a real estate agent, you should not even bother starting out at the bottom. Why? There really is no difference between selling cheap real estate or selling the most expensive ones. It seems kind of amazing how some people say, oh, I'm going to start out at the bottom. I'm going to start selling out cheap real estate and then work my way up. From what I've seen in terms of evaluating a lot of people's channels and their Instagram, if they start selling the cheap junk, they never actually graduate to the top. The people who, if you have to have confidence to just start out at the top, because there's really no point in selling the cheap stuff. It's all based on commission. So if I were to be a real estate agent, I would start out selling in the highest end area of Beverly Hills. You just dress up in a suit, try to read the Robb Report, things like that. Get a sense of how people in that position see the world. I actually noticed that some of the real estate agents that do actually market to the super wealthy, they still don't seem like they understand this market. They still don't seem like they understand how someone like that thinks, and I think that's part of the biggest weakness some agents have. I think that some agents would actually benefit so much from just trying to get a sense of what someone in that position, how they think about money, how they think about buying a really expensive property. And so instead of wasting your time selling cheap junk, that really doesn't give you the right experience. In fact, you would be better off trying to sell the expensive stuff and actually failing at it for a period of time, and then just gaining more and more confidence, being able to do really well. Like my brother, he's actually a real estate agent, right? But you didn't do the strategy.
I have a license. What are you eating? What are you eating there? What are you...
So the reason why I thought of this actually is Graham Stephan actually started selling the highest end real estate just from the beginning, because their license, once you get your license, there's no requirement that you have to start selling at the low level and then work your way up. But if you think about it, other professions like law, it's not like you graduate from law school and then you can immediately say, yeah, I want to be the senior managing attorney for Google or Facebook. You can't do that in that field. Whereas that's kind of an interesting thing. Whereas when it comes down to real estate, you get your license, and since it's all commission, no, they're not paying you a salary. You could start off at the higher end firm and say, look, I just want to sell the high end stuff. I'm really extremely confident about this. I understand this market because I spend time with people who have a lot of money. Or maybe you have to learn first how they think. Maybe you need to watch some more YouTube channels of how wealthy people think. Or I definitely think the Robb Report is a cool paper because it really is oriented towards people who make about, what is it, $10 million, Danny?
I have no idea.
I think you looked at the demographic of this magazine once, and I think it's in that range. So if you understand that market, obviously you're going to have an easier time selling to them. And the funny thing is, it actually probably takes more time to sell real estate to poor people than the wealthy, because the poor, since they don't have much money, a lot of them will not qualify for mortgage, or they're going to complain more about things that aren't that important, or they just will be harder to deal with in general because they just don't really see the opportunity that exists. Whereas if you are working with higher net worth people, once you get these commissions going, it's going to be pretty big. Now, I bet a lot of people actually, if they are agents at the moment, they probably don't even want to even bother selling real estate right now, just because it probably is a bad market for certain areas. Like here, I think a lot of these people aren't even here anymore. I think that they left town just to avoid dealing with a lot of the problems that exist right now in the urban environment, like the real strict lockdowns and just the riots and stuff like that. So that's one reason why I think that if you do, even though this seems like a very tough time period to get involved and sell real estate in the luxurious market, it might actually turn out to be one of the best times to join, actually. And it actually is it's actually during the tough times that you have the most opportunities in some ways, because other people don't see the opportunity. They give up. They don't even want to bother trying. And so if you're starting out when no one else does, you probably have a great opportunity, more opportunities than other people imagine. And once you start out, it actually has a way of actually being like a cycle, where you continue to get this cycle of this positive energy and the chance to do even better. So if I were to start over and do something and get into real estate, selling it as an agent, I definitely would choose to sell at the highest price real estate market only. I would focus only on that, become very specialized in it, try to learn all the different names of all the kinds of things that are existing in these wealthy kinds of estates. Like I noticed there's this YouTuber, he shows this really fancy estates, and then he'll say stuff like, I know this is something expensive, but I don't know what the name is. Don't do that. If you don't know what it is, just don't even remark on it. Just say it looks beautiful and amazing and exquisite. It looks it's just a remarkable piece of furniture, or quality, and grandiose, is the most grandiose, finely tuned thing out there, and it's made by hand, blah blah blah. So you definitely don't want to look like you don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, definitely hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll talk again in another video.